Howdy folks, welcome to part 2 on my guidelines on how to evaluate cards while we're looking at the top 25 investments in modern. If you did watch the first part, you definitely want to jump over there and watch the first part because you're going to be lost just jumping in right here. So click the link down in the description or here at the beginning of the video and you can go check that out first. Otherwise, let's get going. So let's take a look at how I rate cards and how I project values. And on the next slide I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So, number 1, a combination of stability and growth potential. What I do is I rate the cards and I combine stability and growth potential. So if we go to number 2 there, you see I use a 10-point scale for each one, meaning I have a 10-point scale for stability, I have a 10-point scale for growth potential. So I'll rate the card. I'll go through all the criteria that I went on the list for stability and on the list for growth potential, and I'll give it on a scale of 0 to 10. And I'll rate it, and then I'll rate it for growth potential 0 to 10 and score it. Then I'll add them together and get a total score. Some cards are high on stability, low on growth potential. Some are vice versa, and some are both, as we see on the top 25 list. Alright, number 4. I try to avoid 1s and 2s if possible. So if I have a card that falls as a 1 or a 2 in a rating, I try to avoid contemplating it too much. There are some exceptions though. When there is a card that's a 1 or a 2 but on stability, but maybe it has high growth potential, and if the card isn't valued very highly right now, I might take a chance and buy 50 of them or 100 of them or something, because I know that if I lose out, if the card's 50 cents and I buy 100 of them for $50, then I just need to, if I miss, then if I get one winner, I can make up for that on one card. Alright, number 5, use parallel cards to project. So for instance, I've used this example previously, the idea of Combust. Foil Combust is a $4 card in Modern right now, or in Magic right now, and so when I project for Rending Volley, I project it to be a $4 to $5 card. Now the one advantage on Rending Volley is that it has only been printed one time in one set, whereas Combust was printed twice in 2 different core sets. So there's fewer cards, so it might see a little bit more value, and it might see a little bit more play because it's 1 mana. So when I look at cards like that are main deck cards, I'll look and see, is this creature is played in one deck, it's a primary creature played in one deck, so let me look at other high value creatures that are the primary creature in one deck. And so that's what I mean by use parallel cards to project. You want to look at cards that are similar to it. Did this card have a lot of play in Standard? Did this card have a lot of play in Standard? Yes, on both of those. So these would be parallel cards. Were they printed in the same time, the same era? That would be a parallel. So those are something you need to take into account when you're evaluating. All right, and number 6, factor the margin for price increase. So you have to consider how much money can you make on this card. So if I say this card has high stability and it has some growth potential, but I only project it, let's say it's a $20 card, and let's say I project it's going to go up to $30. So you're using $20 to make $10. I would rather spend $5 on a card that has potential to go up to $10 because I'm going to get a higher return on investment. So you need to take that in consideration. Just like the example I used in Tarmogoyf, if it's only going to go up $10 in a year, then you spend $200 to make $10. Whereas if I buy 2 $5 cards for $10 and they go up to $20, I've made twice as much money by spending a 20th of the amount of money. So that's something you need to take in consideration. Alright, next we're going to take a look at a slide where I kind of show you exactly how all this works. Okay, let's take a look at a mock spreadsheet that I have. I actually have these 92 modern cards in an Excel spreadsheet, and this is kind of what it looks like. I kind of made a mock sample for you and put a couple examples in. So up here we have your our columns A through H, and over here 1, 2, we have rows in here. 2 is right here in this little part. And we're going to take a look at Thalia and Siege Rhino. So over here on stability rating, I have Thalia at a 2. Now I'm gonna jump back over here real quick and look at stability. So will this card ever be reprinted? I think there's a possibility that Thalia will see reprinting. and I'm pretty sure she's going to get reprinted in some dual decks or things like that, probably Modern Masters and some things like that. So that's going to hurt her value a little bit. And so let's take a look at it. Does this card see play in other formats? It sees play in Legacy, in Death and Taxes deck, so that's a bonus for it. But let's take a look here. Well, new cards obsolete this one. This is the one that gets me on Dahlia. Dahlia may be a great investment. I know there's some people who love Dahlia as an investment, and that's cool. I can appreciate why you might think it's a great investment. But I'm going to devalue it a little bit because I think there could be a card that comes along that obsoletes Dahlia, that basically does the same thing that she does, but does it cheaper or better, or it's on a better creature, or whatever's the case. I think there's room for Wizards to tighten that card and the ability up to make it better. Don't fall in love with the card. Okay, well, it goes for saying I'm not in love with Dahlia, so I don't have to worry about that. Will it maintain its base value? This one, I think it'll maintain its value unless it becomes obsoleted. So really number 3 is the one that gets me on Thalia. So let's go back over here. Alright, growth potential for Thalia. Basically, will new players want this card? There will be some new players that want this card, but it's not played so much because it's not a staple card. I wouldn't call Thalia a staple card in the environment. It sees a little bit of play in Modern. It sees more play in Legacy, so it has more potential, I think, in Legacy than it does Modern and Death and Taxes. But if it gets obsoleted, then it doesn't have a lot of potential for growth. So over here, the total score would be 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. Right now, it's about $5. I use eBay prices for the most part. I use some of the other big box websites also. But realistically, if I'm buying and selling, usually I'm going to be doing it on eBay, so that's the prices that I typically use. So it's about $5. And so a projected price on it, I could see Thalia moving up to 8. Now there is a place in this world where I could see Thalia moving up to $12, $15. But I'm going to go on the conservative side because, you know, you don't, just like I said, don't fall in love with cards. Don't fall in love with the idea that they're going to be extreme prices. So if I look at parallels in the environment to Thalia, I see that they're going to move to about this range. Now, over here is the return on investment. And like I said, this is a stock term if you're not familiar with stock trading. And basically what return on investment is, it's the price that you sell, which is $8. We're going to assume that it hits $8, minus the price that you bought it, which is $5, divided by the current price. So 8 minus 5 is 3, divided by 5 is 60%. So your return on investment is 60%. I spent $5 and I got $3 in return on top of the $5 I invested. So I made 60% of my original investment returned to me. Now, Siege Rhino is down here, and the stability rating on Siege Rhino is a 4. Because Siege Rhino has a lot of flavor, and I think it has some. It's going to get played in EDH. I don't think it's going to get played in Legacy, but I think it has a place in Modern for the most part. And I do not see Siege Rhino getting reprinted. That's one of the things about Siege Rhino. If we jump over here, will it ever be reprinted? I don't think it's going to get reprinted. And because right now it's such an annoyance for people in Standard. People hate playing against Siege Rhino. And Wizards typically tries to avoid reprinting cards that annoy players. It's not always the case, but, you know, i.e. Thoughtseize. But they try to avoid that. So, does it see play in other formats? Basically just, you know, EDH. Will new cards obsolete this one? I don't think so. I think it's at the power level, kind of a max power level for the moment. I do see creatures getting more powerful as Magic continues, but I don't see Siege Rhino getting better. Don't fall in love with this card. People either love this card or hate this card. So this is a big one for Siege Rhino fans. Don't fall in love with it. It's not a big, huge factor in Modern. Will it maintain its base value? I think it will. I think it has a good. It's at 6, about 6 right now, and I picked some Siege Rhinos up when it was still at like $3 or $4. I picked some extra ones up because I noticed that it was starting to get some play in Modern, and it's already moved up to $6. So I can see this Siege Rhino moving up to 12 after it rotates out of the format. and that would be a return on investment of 100%. So I invest $6, I get 6 additional bucks back when I sell. Now, for those of you who are interested in making an Excel spreadsheet like I do, if you would like to kind of copy this layout for yourself, when you put the values in, make sure your sales are in as numbers. And then over here on return on investment, down here you can see this is the formula that you use if you wanted to calculate return on investment. So this is for Siege Rhino. This cell right here that has 100%, this is what would be in there. You would type in the cell equal sum, and then in parentheses G5 minus F5. So you're saying this is G right here. This is column G. This is row 5. So this cell right here is G5. And if you're done here, your G5, and then your minus F5. So this cell minus, this is F up here, F5. So 12 minus 6, and then divided by F5, which is here. So 12 minus 6 is 6, divided by 6 is 100%. So that's going to be the return on investment. So as a return, I think Siege Rhino is a better investment than Thalia in the short term. Although you have to be careful with Siege Rhino, because I'm concerned that Siege Rhino might not stay current in the format. So for instance, 2007, 2008, when Modern used to be called Extended, we had a deck run around Doran the Explorer, and so Doran the Siege Tower was he's the same colors, same abs and colors as Siege Rhino, except he's one colorless mana less. He's green, white, and black. He's a 0/5 if you don't know Doran. Creatures assign damage based on toughness, so he's basically a 5/5 in a sense. And he was a big player back then, and he shot up to about a $12 range. And so that's why I have Siege Rhino projected about 12. And I don't know why Doran's not being played, but he's not being played anymore. I mean, I've seen him maybe once in a deck in the last 6 months. But anyway, you have to take that in consideration. Doran is not even a thing anymore, but it was a big Tier 1 deck in 2007, 2008. So I can't see Siege Rhino becoming a Tier 1 or a top card in Tier 1 deck. It might, but I only see Modern getting faster and more aggressive in the near future. So anyway, let's take a look at our next slide. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the golden rules to investing. Some of these come from my days of trading, buying, selling, shorting stocks. I was no great stock trader, but I did enjoy doing that for a few years. I had a job that allowed me to watch stocks very closely on a daily basis. So anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought I might be interested in switching careers and going into being a trader, but I decided against it. And I thought, why not take what I learned from stock trading and combine it with Magic, which I love, and invest in Magic cards and see how it turns out. So these are the golden rules. Number 1, you must develop investors' discipline. You must be very disciplined. And by that, I mean you must know when to buy, you must know when to sell. You cannot let your heart get involved. You have to know this is my price target for the card, and this is when I'm going to sell the card. When the card hits this amount, I'm going to sell it. So ideally what you're going to do is you're going to buy cards that have growth potential. The cards are going to grow, and then you're going to sell them. If they don't grow, sell them too. You need to get rid of dead money and invest in new things. So if you buy a card or cards and you sit on it and you think, okay, in 2 years I'm going to see what this is going to do, and it doesn't go anywhere, then sell it. Get rid of it. Get it on eBay, sell it, get your money, put your money into something that has more potential, because you obviously picked a dud. I picked duds, but I don't sit on it and hope and hope and hope and hope and turn it out. A lot of stock investors would do that, and that's what amateurs do. You can't do that. You have to be disciplined. When your Magic card, if you buy that Siege Rhino for $6 and it hits 12, sell it. Sell it and take your money, because if you don't, and then it goes down, and then you didn't get the money out of it. So you have to be very disciplined about it. The other thing is, when you set up when you start investing in Magic cards, what you do is you have to separate those cards from your collection. Do not mix those cards with your collection. At my house, I have my collection. I have a very large personal collection, but I have another collection that's set aside. they don't mingle. They don't cross over. I don't borrow from them. If I have some nice beta cards or something, old cards, I don't play with them. They stay separated from my personal collection. I know this is an investment. This is not for me to play with. So if I save money to invest in Magic cards, then I put them in there. I log how much I spent. Here's my sell price and then I keep track of the value of the cards over time. And when they hit the sell price, I sell. I take that money, I reinvest it into new cards. So this is a cycle I go through. I have to stay disciplined about it. I can't be in love with it. I can't be wanting to show my friends. I can't be taking it to tournaments and trying to show them off because I don't want to risk them getting stolen. So you have to be disciplined. Most important thing. Okay, maybe I'll make another video about that later because that is critical, and I'll go over, basically how to do this and set this up. All right, number 2, you must set aside X dollars each month to invest. You have to know, I'm going to put this money towards my personal collection. I'm going to put this money towards my investment. All right, and just like I just mentioned, you have to stay disciplined about that. You can't let those two things intermingle. All right, number 3, you must not touch those cards. Don't trade them or sell them. I kind of just went over that, but do not mess with those cards. Put them aside in a box. Put them in, nice cases. Put them aside. Don't touch them. Don't sell them. If you break your ankle and have to go to the emergency room, don't sell your cards. Don't do it. Find another way. This is one of the disciplines about investing. This is one of the disciplines about saving money. This is one of the disciplines that wealthy people practice. Don't touch that money, no matter what. If you touch it, then you break down the whole system that you've designed for yourself to create value and long-term wealth for yourself. All right, number 4, you must use your head, not your heart. As I said, don't fall in love with a card. This is really important in stocks. People fall in love with stocks. Stock goes up, starts going down, they're in love with it, they don't want to sell, and it keeps going down and they lose money. So you must use your head. You must forget about what your heart says. You must sell, trade when you're supposed to. Number 5, keep a log of your purchases and track their value. I have basically a journal that I keep. It's like a ledger book that a company would use, like an old school ledger book, and I put in there, here's what I bought these cards for. So for instance, I bought 2 cases of Return to Ravnica. So there's six boxes per case. I spent was $980, I think, for those cases. Total for those cases. So I have a price. When each box is selling for X amount of dollars on eBay, that's when I sell them. So I have it right there in my ledger. This is what I purchased it for. This is what I'm going to sell it at. Here's the money I'm going to get for it. When I get that money, the money doesn't go into my pocket to have fun and to blow it on things. It goes into my Magic investment fund, basically. So I'm going to reinvest that money. So now, if I sell those cases if I bought them for, say, $1,000, and I can sell them in 4 or 5 years, if I sell them for $5,000, then I made a $4,000 profit off a $1,000 investment, which is pretty dang good. And I will take that money and I will buy more cards, and I'll basically just recycle that money, and hopefully I can turn that $4,000 into another $8,000 or $16,000. Okay, so that's what you got to think. You got to log and keep track and stay disciplined. Number 6, sell when you hit your target price and invest in newer cards with more potential. You have a target price for a reason, because you see this card hitting that price, and when you hit that price, you got to sell it. Okay. Then you take the money, like I just said, you invest in newer cards with more potential. Tarmogoyf at $200, not a great investment, because it seems like it's been hovering at $200. Could Tarmogoyf go higher? Yes, most definitely, it could go higher. But you're not going to get the same amount of growth on Tarmogoyf as you're going to get on newer cards that are coming into the format, because those are going to get exponential growth on. Tarmogoyf is going to be very flat growth. All right, so these are some of the rules to investing. And one last thing that I want to remind you about. This is a big, big reminder. Every choice doesn't have to be a winner, but try to make sure every choice is not a loser. I've said this in some of my other videos, And so that means you don't have to hit a home run on all your cards. So if I have 10 cards and 6 of them don't do much that I invest in, but 4 of them do, as long as those 6 that didn't do much don't lose me money, then I come out ahead. So if those 6 just stay the same and break even, then I come out ahead on the 4 that I win on. But if I make bad investment choices, if I invest in cards because I love the card instead of investing on things that my head says this is a winner, then those lose me money. If those 6 lose me money, then I come out a negative because the 4 that I made money on is going to be subtracted away by the 6 that I lost money on. So you need to keep that in mind. It's okay if you don't pick all winners, but just don't pick losers. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I appreciate your likes, your comments, and your subs. So thanks for being patient, and let's head to number 21 through 25 on our top 25 list. Peace out, guys, and happy trading.